Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, we are a minimalist family who is living big with less, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that I absolutely love, and that is being a frugal minimalist, or as I personally like to think of it, being a thrifty person who is interested in simple living, because I feel like minimalism spills over into so many other areas of our lives that it really doesn't encapsulate it as well as simple living does. So if you are interested in how we make both thrifty, frugal living work on a minimalist lifestyle and the pros and cons and the things that we have had to work out along the way, stick around because I'm going to fill you in. Alrighty, now I want to start this video by saying personal finance is, as always, as the name suggests, it's personal to you. And so I'm speaking from my experience, so please just take what you like and leave what you don't. I also want to say that I don't think that necessarily minimalism and frugality are synonymous. I think you can be a minimalist and not be frugal, and you can definitely be frugal and not a minimalist. So they're not conducive, they don't have to be together. It's just, I personally am frugal, I always have been. My mum has raised me with a very thrifty mindset, and so I've carried that on into my adult life. But minimalism is something I adapted to as an adult, and I do find that the two marry together really well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how being a minimalist can help you be frugal, and also some traps that minimalists get into that are not super frugal. So let's get started. Firstly, and probably the overall theme of all of these, is that minimalism makes you much more intentional about your purchases. So because you are very critical about what's coming in your home, because you want to keep it to a level that's really simple, you then become really intentional about what you buy. So the things that I notice that I do differently now that we've adopted this more minimalist lifestyle is that I think about purchases in advance. I don't just go to the shops to look around necessarily. I might have something in mind that I look for a long time. So for example, prints in this room. We really want some movie posters to go in here, and I found a few that I like, but none that are quite right. And so everywhere I go, I'm looking for that. But that is, in my mind, I'm still thinking about that purchase before I make it. The next thing I always do is I plan purchases in advance. So if something is starting to wear out, I'll think to myself, I'll make a note in my planner that this is something that I think we'll need to replace in the near future. And so that works for me two ways. One is that when I'm at the shops, I remember to look at it. And two, I can keep an eye out for when it comes on sale or if I see a good deal. And I can also start planning for that purchase by looking into it, looking at reviews, asking people that work in the stores what they think about certain products, because I don't always have time to look at the shops, but when I do, I can make use of that time really well by thinking and planning in advance. You also really start to hone your own needs, your own decor style, your own fashion style, and really own that as a minimalist. So that makes you way more intentional when you're purchasing, because you already know what you're looking for and you know what you need or what you're going to need in the near future. And so you're being way more intentional about what you buy. The second thing that I think minimalism is great for is that you start to look for quality products over quantity. So I used to be terrible for buying what was on sale. So I would see a good deal and I would think, wow, Sarah, you have saved yourself so much money by buying this today. And I would not have really looked into it, or it may not suit all of our needs, or it might not even be the right thing. You know, like when you become a minimalist, you're looking for things that are going to serve several purposes. And so just because I can get one thing on sale doesn't mean it's the right thing or it's even the best quality thing. And I wish I could sit here and tell you that price will always be the best indication of quality, but unfortunately that's just not true. So just because something is a brand name or it's the most expensive thing there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best quality. So back to buying intentionally, if you've done your homework, looked at the reviews, you're still not guaranteed you're never going to buy a dud, but you're much more likely to have bought a quality product. Now, let me tell you some truth bombs about how Frugal Sarah would like to live. I would like to do everything the cheapest possible way. I really had to teach myself that spending more money in the now could actually save me more money in the future. Like when I bought my Dyson, honestly, my husband had to fully give me an intervention at the store and be like, Sarah, this is going to be great. You need this. You've looked at all the reviews now. It's just time to buy it. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it is the best vacuum I've ever used. I love it. I love it more than my robot vacuum. Even though I still love my robot vacuum, I love it to death. And it was worth the money I spent. And I know if I had cheaped out and got the generic brand or whatever, that I would not have the quality of the product that I have and probably not the longevity of the product that I have. So if you are like me and love to go the cheapest way, this might be a tough one for you, but definitely quality over quantity is the way to go. Number 3 is, I think, one of the most underrated minimalist hacks out there, which is when you're really embracing minimalism and simple living, you become super good at using what you already have. So rather than going out and buying something, I will be like, do we already have something that can do that? Can I make a meal just using what I've got here in the cupboard rather than running out to the shops? If one of my kids come to me and are like, I want to learn XYZ or start this hobby, I'm going to go through and make sure that we don't already have those things, something that we can use, something that will do just fine, instead of going out and just buying something automatically. And I think that when you have less items and you know the items that you have really well, that you're more likely to be able to use them better because you know what you've got, you want to use it if you're hanging on to it, and it means that we're bringing less items into our homes. So my 4th reason about minimalism isn't specific to minimalism as such, but it is specific to simple living, and that is to become debt-free. Now, if you have not seen any of my other videos, we were in a lot of debt and we paid down all of our debt. And since then, the freedom that we have now, living debt-free, we have our 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. We are able to live like no one else, so we could live and give like no one else, as Dave Ramsey says. And so it has been the most freeing way of living for us. And the reason I bring it up in a Frugal Minimalist video is because I think that freedom is a big part of our minimalist why for a lot of people. If you're on the wheel of debt, which is where you are working in a normal job and trading your time for money, and so all of your time is being spent making more money to pay off the debt, and it just keeps going round and round and round. So if you are interested in either slowing down the amount of time that you have to trade for money, or using your money differently, or perhaps even getting to a stage where you don't have to work for someone else at all, the biggest key to that is becoming debt-free and living a life where you're free to make really good decisions because they're not based on having to pay someone back. Number 5 is buying new as a last resort. So as my minimalist and simple living journey has evolved, I have really sort of established this pyramid of buying. I saw a great graphic. I'll see if I can put it up here for you. And basically buying new is the top of the pyramid. And then can I use something I already have? Can I borrow it from somebody else? Can I buy it from a thrift store? Can I make it myself? And so I go through all of those things before I go to buying it new. And a great byproduct of doing that is that usually those other things are way cheaper than buying something new. If I can borrow it from a friend, then I'm not spending any money at all. If I can use something I already have, I'm not spending any more money than what I've already spent. And thrifting is obviously often a lot cheaper than buying something new. And so by using this strategy of leaving buying new as the last resort, that will save you money. Of course, like I talked about before, spending money is not necessarily a bad thing, but if we are being really conscious about what we're buying and only buying when we get to that top of the pyramid type scenarios, you are going to be saving heaps of money. So my sixth point and my final point is kind of where minimalism and frugality, where the rubber meets the road, because minimalism is not always the most frugal option. I'm going to be super honest. And when it comes down to it, I think this is a big reason that people don't choose minimalism. And that is because of the fear of needing something in the future and then having to repurchase it. So my tip for making this work with both frugality and minimalism is find the middle ground that works for you and acknowledge the pros and cons of both options. So for example, if you hold on to this item, you will have it if you need it, but the cons of that are that you need to pay to store it. There's the mental space that you need to sort this, take care of it, make sure it stays in good condition while you're storing it. And also knowing that you are going to need to remember that you have this thing next time you use it. Because often when I'm going through people's homes, the reason that the KonMari method works so well is because she gets you to get out all the things of one type so you can see how many you have. And the reason that that happens, that we end up with so many duplicates of things, is because we're keeping it for just in case, but then just in case time comes and we forget that we own it because it's lost in the mix of stuff that we already own. Now, I'm not going to say that this is never going to happen. I think that it's just we forget, that's something that you can't always prevent from happening. But it is something that is much less frequent if you're living a minimalist lifestyle. And so when you're thinking about this, find the middle ground that works for you. So if you, for example, loved camping and you camp, right through the summer and a couple of times during the year, it's going to be worth your while to keep your camping equipment, buy good camp equipment that's going to last you a long time and keep it and store it really well. If you're someone like me who likes the idea of camping, but the logistical nightmare of me getting my kids out there and putting up a tent and all of that would prevent me from camping, I need to say no to my fantasy self and know that if I needed to go camping, I can always use my pyramid and borrow and all of those other things, thrift if the time came when I did need it. But let go of it if it's not a reality for me. The same can be said for tools, and in our situation it was cables. My husband used to have boxes and boxes of cables, and I said to him, and this is a great tip, I said to him, get rid of anything that you don't think you're going to use if it is less than $20. So if it would cost less than $20 to replace, just let it go. And that worked so well for us. We threw away 3 boxes of cables. I think he bought 1 cable after that, and he said he ended up buying a really nice, good quality one, which serves us much better. But in the grand scheme of things, he was keeping all these things just in case, but they were costing us time, mental space, and so it wasn't worth it. But if you do have things that you are going to use or that are really useful for you, finding a middle ground between the two is the key to being minimalist. So keeping it to a level that you can manage, as well as being frugal and having it there for when you need it so you don't have to buy it again. So guys, I hope this has been helpful for you if you are thinking about a minimalist lifestyle, or if you are already a minimalist and you're thinking about being more frugal, whatever the case may be. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments what your favorite minimalist, frugal matchups are. I love to chat with you down there. If you are new here, we would absolutely love to have you subscribe. Here are some other videos we think you might like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.